Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Houck.
Here.
Councilman Pucciarelli.
Here.
Councilman Ritchie.
Here.
Councilwoman Walsh.
Here.
And Mayor Aronson.
Here. Now we have a special treat tonight. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we have Cub Scout Pack 33 from Hawes. If you guys want to come forward here, if you guys want to come to the front of the room and lead us, everybody please stand. Whenever you're ready.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys. That was great. Really appreciate it. Okay, now if everybody could just join us in a moment of silence as we honor the American men and women serving as in armed forces, as well as those serving as first responders. Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Good evening and welcome. We've got a big council meeting tonight. Aside from having the Webelos here, the Cub Scout Pack 33, we're going to swear in 3 new firefighters, a lieutenant and a captain. We're going to be acting on appointing a new village manager, and we've got other business to take care of. So this is a great meeting. We're glad so many of you came out tonight. But before we get to those things, we just got a couple of housekeeping things. We're going to do the acceptance of financial reports. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of February 28, 2014 be accepted as submitted.
Second.
Houck.
Yes.
Pucciarelli.
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Aronson.
Yes. I move that the Village Council minutes of January 8th, January 29th, February 19th, 2014, having been reviewed by the Village Council and now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Houck.
Yes.
Pucciarelli.
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Aronson.
Yes. Now we have 3 proclamations. Our first proclamation is to declare March Red Cross Month, and it's going to be read by Councilman Tom Ritchie.
Whereas the American Red Cross was established in 1881 and chartered by Congress in 1905 to act in times of emergencies, and whereas the American Red Cross is one of the nation's oldest and most recognized humanitarian organizations, and whereas local chapters provide compassionate care and immediate emergency service when disasters and other crises threaten to overwhelm families, and whereas the American Red Cross provides services such as health and safety and disaster preparedness training, emergency response assistance, reunification services for military families in times of crisis, and Holocaust tracing. And whereas the American Red Cross is a nonprofit nationwide organization with a rich history spanning more than 130 years, which depends on the generous contributions of time, blood, and money from the American public to support its life-saving services and programs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim March 2014 as American Red Cross Month in the Village of Ridgewood.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Our next proclamation is to declare March Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and we have the Deputy Mayor Albert Pucciarelli to read that.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States, claiming more than 50,000 American lives each year. Whereas colorectal cancer is a major health concern for families in New Jersey. While anyone can get colorectal cancer, the risk increases with age, with 9 out of 10 cases occurring in people over 50 years old. And whereas colorectal cancer is preventable and treatable, and whereas the New Jersey Cancer Education and Early Detection Program, the NJCEED program, provides comprehensive education, outreach, early detection, case management, screening, and follow-up in all 21 counties. And whereas New Jersey's statewide Screen for Life campaign to end colorectal cancer promotes education, awareness, and taking action against this disease. And whereas New Jersey's statewide Screen for Life campaign to end colorectal cancer encourages individuals, organizations, and health professionals in New Jersey to collaborate and partner on screening and educational awareness initiatives. And whereas this campaign is being conducted through the NJCEED program in the New Jersey Department of Health and Senior Services, with the overall mission of reducing colorectal cancer incidences and deaths, increasing colorectal cancer awareness and prevention behavior, developing support partnerships, and extending and reinforcing the core message for behavioral change. Now, therefore, the Village Council of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim March 2014 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Ridgewood, New Jersey, and urges our residents to educate themselves about colorectal cancer.
Great, thank you, Albert. And our last proclamation for the evening is to declare March as DeMolay Month. I think we have some folks from DeMolay organization here. If you guys want to just maybe step up to the podium, introduce yourself, and tell us just a little bit about your organization. Welcome.
Good to be here. My name is Nick. DeMolay is a young men's fraternity for men between the ages of 12 and 21. It teaches young men to be good leaders, upright citizens. We follow 7 core values that we try to build our lives around. Those are filial love, reverence for sacred things, courtesy, comradeship, fidelity, cleanness, and patriotism. And we just try to uphold those values in our daily lives. We hold fun events, we hold membership events, we do a lot of community service, and we're just overall a really fun group.
Great. Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have Councilwoman Bernadette Walsh is going to read the proclamation.
Whereas DeMolay is a character-building organization of young men from the ages of 12 to 21, and whereas these young men are seeking to prepare themselves to become better citizens and leaders for tomorrow, and whereas DeMolay helps develop those traits of character which have strengthened good men in all ages, and whereas the organization has carried out the aforementioned goals for over 90 years through programs of athletic competition, social activity, civic service, and charitable projects, and whereas the members of DeMolay, leaders of Bergen County, the Ethan Allen chapter, will observe the year of 2014 as the 95th anniversary of DeMolay and the 700th anniversary of the martyrdom of the namesake of the organization, Jacques DeMolay, so as to exemplify to all citizens here and everywhere their main activities and to tender recognition to their millions of senior DeMolays. Now, therefore, the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim March 2014 as DeMolay Month in the Village of Ridgewood and calls upon all our citizens to join in saluting the young men of DeMolay and expresses grateful appreciation for the fine examples set by them in contributing to the welfare of our community.
Great. Thank you, Bernadette.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. And here's a copy of the proclamation, hot off the press. Great. Thank you. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
And now, the council, we're going to come down to the floor and we're going to do some swearing in. Repeat after me. I, Timothy Bombase, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of firefighter according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Timothy? To make it official. Thanks for your service. Thank you. Brian Kelly. Repeat after me. I, Brian Kelly, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of firefighter according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Brian. Daniel Castro. Repeat after me. I, Daniel Castro, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of firefighter according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. John Judge. You have to listen to the photographer. I, John Judge, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of Fire Lieutenant according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Thanks for your service, Jim. Thank you. Scott Schmidt. You got to do a lot here. You gotta hold. I, Scott Schmidt, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of Fire Captain according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your service. Appreciate it. You really don't have to leave if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's given the choice, however.
Take care. Thank you.
Going to this.
Aaron's got some great shots on there. Life magazine.
Put his hand up.
Kids. Fantastic.
We're just going to continue the meeting in a minute, so if you guys...
Moving on out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we'll move to comments from the public. Anyone have a question, comment, word, or praise, please step up to the podium. You already stepped up to the podium, so just state your name, your address, and 3 minutes a person. Good evening and welcome.
Address, what was the last thing? Name, address, and?
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Martin Walker. I live at 114 Cottage Place. I've been living in Ridgewood for about 7 years. By profession, I'm a clinical psychologist, and I have a postdoctoral certificate in organizational consultation, which I've used consulting to communities and organizations of many types. I also, because I think it's relevant to what I want to say to the council and sort of help us think about as a community. I'm a Fulbright scholar and a professor around the integration of 3 countries for the North American Free Trade Agreement. The reason I'm here this evening, and it's actually really humbling, and I'm touched to be in the presence of the amazing people that make our community, for me, is really the best community I think that anybody could live in. I've lived in communities all over the world, so I think I'm in a position to say that. I have a very deep concern around how Ridgewood is growing as a community. I see that we're halfway between, our 3-centennial to the quadricentennial. Actually, this year, we're exactly at the midpoint of those 50 years. And I'm reading a lot about initiatives in Ridgewood, and I'm not seeing the 2 things which I think are key to any community in any of the controversies, any of the things that people seem to be arguing about, and I want to sort of try to connect with the council about that. I'm not seeing the words community, and I'm not seeing the words family, and I'm not seeing the words future. And I think, as I wrote in a recent letter to the Ridgewood News, any kind of leadership authority in any community, any organization of any kind, has to do with how far into the future we can project ourselves. So what I'll just read briefly from what I wrote in the paper, because it goes directly to this issue. I guess I just want to reflect for a second more what I hear about that is a big concern, and it's people are talking about telephone poles, people are talking about building heights, people are talking about the impact of valley and all this, but I'm not hearing a vision for the whole community, and I want to know where that leadership is going to come from. It seems to me that the 2 perennial certainties are aging and taxes, and they actually provide the most stable variables around which to articulate any family community's future. Every single one of us will age, and the fact that tax revenues is tied to property values means our taxes will actually increase indefinitely. Visionary leadership must articulate way of dealing with these 2 issues for our town. In terms of aging, I don't know whether we are an aging in community or an aging out community. Should Ridgewood be required to provide space that we can live in for all of our lives or only parts of our lives? Should our old age take place here within Ridgewood, or should it take easy access to the places we love, or should our elders go somewhere else? In terms of taxes, currently Ridgewood's greatest human asset is that children often return to create new families here. Do we want more of this? Do we want our children to come back? Do we want less of it? Our current tax structure means that every single one of our children, I have 3 children in the schools here, which I truly appreciate, every single one of our children will have to be wealthier than each one of us in order to live in Ridgewood in the future. So as one of the wealthiest communities in New Jersey, that's a statistical impossibility. So visionary leadership requires us to make clear choices. Should the future of this family-based community be reserved exclusively for those who earn more than most, though certainly not all of our children? And should our parents and we, in our old age, be exiled to some faraway version of an elders' asylum freshly built on what used to be a dairy farm? In conclusion, I just want to say that I personally would like to see a vision that calls for a future of increased tax revenues and decreased family tax burdens by way of over 55 high-density housing downtown and downtown assisted living facilities, which can also increase economic activity without burdening our schools. It's our choice, but we need visionary leadership in order to make it happen.
Great. Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Martin.
much
Appreciate
for
it.
your time.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Mary Romano McCallie, and I reside at 239 Heights Road here in Ridgewood. I'm here tonight on a positive note to thank all of you for your service to our community and to express my support for your choice of village manager, Roberta Sonnenfeld. Roberta and I work together on the board of the Education Foundation, and I have found her to be smart, capable, and deeply committed to this community. Roberta is also well-versed in best practices for organizations. She exercises sound financial judgment, and she is a rational, thoughtful decision maker. Most importantly, she listens. I have no doubt that Roberta will bring these skills and her passion for Ridgewood to the position of village manager, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Inez Bunza, 335 Jeffers Street. I'm here also in support of your decision to have our wonderful Roberta as village manager. Years ago, when I served as federated president, was the first time my path crossed with Roberta as we were implementing computer systems into the HSAs. And Roberta was an incredible help at that time and had wonderful guidance from her with that. And a few years later, our paths crossed both in the Ridgewood Historical Society and the Ridgewood Education Foundation. Ironically, I'm the treasurer for both of those organizations, and I can count at every single meeting on having Roberta question my numbers and the finances and how we're being very careful with how we spend things. So that bodes for a good sign of what's to come. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Inez. Appreciate it. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Mac Hyatt, 219 Madison Place in Ridgewood. 25 years a resident in town, now retired after 40 years in finance and operations management. And for the last 6 months, I've been a member of the Financial Advisory Committee, and that has given me an opportunity to really understand what's going on in the village and what some of our issues are and what our challenges are. And as some of you may have seen, we have publicly come out with our thoughts on some of what needs to be done. So I think for me it's been a great opportunity to really get an understanding of the challenges facing our town. I should also mention I've sat on the board with Roberta and the Bergen Volunteers. I missed that. But getting back to Roberta, I've spent almost 6 months on the Financial Advisory Committee, and I think that's given me a good opportunity to see what we need. I think we really need some strategic thinking. We need to be thinking more about the next 5 years and the next 10 years rather than always just putting out fires and focusing on 1 year ahead. I think we clearly need strong financial and operational skills. need the ability to prioritize. There are so many things going on in this town. I had no idea of how many projects were underway, and someone has to prioritize and cut through the detail and figure out what we can and can't do. I think we need hands-on management skills. I've been very impressed with a lot of the people we've worked with in the town, but they need a manager, and they need someone who can work with them to get things done. And we need a willingness to reach outside from our own community and look at what other towns are doing, what the state is doing, what the county is doing, and we can't do it all on our own. We need someone who can do that for us. We need someone who can make decisions. Time is critical, and I've been upset by how some of the issues that have been around in this town have been around for 10, 15 years and not resolved. Someone's got to bite the bullet on some of these issues and make some decisions, and I think a lot of that falls on the village manager to push and get things done. And lastly, I think we need someone who is loyal to our town, someone who is going to work in the best interest of the taxpayers and to continue to make the town the fun place that the reason that we're all here. So I believe that all of these skills that I see as needed, Roberta has. I can vouch for her input sitting on a board. I can vouch for her input working with her on the Finance Advisory Committee. And I frankly think we are very lucky to have someone as strong as Roberta who's willing to step up and do this job. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mac. Appreciate it. Good evening, Mr. Johansson. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is John Johansson. I live at 115 Lincoln Avenue. It's really nice to be here in front of the council and not have to talk about the library budget, first of all.
We appreciate that.
I suppose that's not much of a reprieve because it's really right around the corner, but I too am here to support my friend Roberta Sonnenfeld's appointment to village manager. The reason I'm supporting her isn't because she's my friend. I have some other friends. Some of them are in the room. And, well, let's just say I wouldn't support them for such an important role. I'm here to support Roberta because I think she's exactly the right person to be the village manager of Ridgewood. Roberta has the operational management experience to do this job and do it well. She's a student of Lean and Six Sigma operational excellence, and forward-thinking communities all over the country are including these tenets in their municipal governments with great success. They are increasing the transparency of their municipal operations, increasing satisfaction levels in their communities, and minding the bottom line. That's a tall order, but Roberta has the experience to achieve those goals. She's also successfully led and motivated teams. We have a great workforce in our village, and harnessing her talent is critical to the success of the village manager. Roberta's worked with large and diverse teams and motivated them toward common goals. Roberta is a self-admitted policy wonk. She digs into the details of issues, understands them, works them out, and implements solutions. Given a few minutes walking from one meeting to the next, she's less likely to ask about the weather and more likely to ask your thoughts on what she's heard another municipality working on. After getting congratulations from a board member or elected official, she's more likely to, gently of course, ask their opinion on her next objective. Roberta's a connector. She's able to constructively connect people and groups. She'll work to improve the connection between Village Hall and our community. She'll work to improve the connection Ridgewood has with surrounding communities, the county, and the state. It helps that she knows just about everyone. Finally, Roberta will eat her own cooking. She's a customer for the very services that her team will be providing. Our taxes are her taxes. She chose to make Ridgewood her home for 17 years, and now she wants to make it even better. I read somewhere that Roberta is the right person at the right time for Ridgewood. I couldn't agree more. Thanks for the time.
Great. Thanks so much. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm Janice Willett, 207 Prospect Street in town. I lived here growing up, and I've been here now for over 25 years, so a long-time resident. And I'm also here to speak on behalf of the appointment of Roberta Sonnenfeld, which I think is the best possible news for the village of Ridgewood. Roberta is a seasoned executive with a proven track record of success in the private sector, and she has a deep sense of commitment to our village. I've known Roberta for only the few months that we've worked together on the Financial Advisory Committee, but her professionalism, integrity, and intelligence have been evident from the start. Roberta also brings excellent listening skills, organizational skills, and she's got a Six Sigma black belt. She's exactly what we need. I think under Roberta's leadership, Ridgewood will address fiscal and operating challenges and set an example for other municipalities. kudos to the village councilor for making this appointment. I think you've done the best possible thing for all of us. There's no longer any issue of kicking the can down the road with Roberta at the helm, and the only tiny negative is that we are losing a great committee member. But thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Janice. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Kim Bangash. I live at 208 Crest Road. And I, too, am here to applaud the nomination of Roberta for the village manager. I hope it is a moot point. And unlike your previous speaker, maybe all the more valid, Roberta and I are not personal friends. I had met her at the Ridgewood Education Foundation, where we both serve, and I have witnessed her sharp and sober professionalism, as well as an energy level in the last couple of years and many activities throughout the town that is very impressive. And I was glad to see her nominated. I'm glad to see her near selection. And I wanted to be sure to come down this evening and voice that support.
Great. Thanks very much. Good evening.
Mayor.
Welcome.
My name is Suvajit Basu. I live on 1 Heights Road and have lived in the village over a decade. I'm here to support Roberta, and I can tell you as a fellow member on the foundation board how she has made our foundation even better in many constructive ways. And the word that comes to my mind is how inclusive she is in bringing everybody together and really going over the details and keeping everything in track, which I think will be incredible for our village. And I wholeheartedly support her and your choice. So
thank you.
We couldn't find a better person.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome.
My name is Jim Griffith, and I live at 159 South Irving Street. I'm also pleased to pass a comment on about our new village manager. I had lunch with her today, and she didn't say anything bad about me, so it's I'm glad. However, my task in front of you tonight is slightly different, and it covers just a narrow strip of village activity. And I've been pushed for the last year by that council lady on the end there to work at the village center, the community center. And we've looked at other places. We've seen what we should do, and we've implemented as much as we can do. And I would say this is a broad number now, that the activity at the community center in the last 9 months has increased between 50 and 100%. That's a big number. However, we realize we need specific numbers, and we're in the process of garnering them, specific numbers. The group has impressed me by the fact that they'd reached out to the entire village. They had excluded no one to bring them in to take advantage of what we're doing. I'm talking about SHARE. I'm talking about the library. I'm talking about the hobbyists. All these groups have been brought in to take advantage of community center. And we're just beginning. Now, much to my surprise is that that village bus is becoming such a favorite with the senior citizen in town. I can't help but think that the 2-day-a-week is going to have to increase. I mean, when the senior citizens talk about the great service they get from their bus, and they talk about it as their bus, all right, that you're probably going to have to expand that. Now, much to my surprise, in looking into the needs of the first floor in this building, I see that it has shortcomings, and some of them are serious. And it doesn't surprise me because in the past, it's been a storage facility. It's now another storage facility. The town has grown, the people have grown, and now we're using every square inch of that location. And I'm surprised at all the people who use the basement and what the limitations are. You're getting ready for the budgetary process. One word, can you make the ground level of this building totally code compliant? You know, the funny thing is there's so many different groups involved. Whose assignment is it to come to you and say, fix this and that? We got 3, 4 different groups that use it, and so, quick list. Who uses the area down sign? Highlights and leisure time. Built. Get acquainted lunches and programs. Parks and recreation adult program. Hobbyists use it. The training center for police and firefighters. Refuge for residents in times of power outages. Refuge for residents from extremely hot weather. Refuge for residents who have left their homes due to floods. A refuge for summer camp attendees due to anticipated southern lightning storms. A refuge for summer camp attendees seeking relief from high temperatures. Triage center for spectators and participating in the 4th of July parade. Training instruction for residents, emergency management programs. Sports teams, pizza parties, and so many youth activities. A lot of things are going on down there, and I think it's basic the village's property. But since they're getting all that utility out of the first floor, you got to bring it up to code. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jim. Appreciate it. Good evening. Welcome.
Mike Stern at 71 John Street. Lived there for 17 years. I have 3 daughters in the high school, and on a personal level, I want to put my support for the village manager because I'm about to send 3 girls to college, and I really need the budget to be kept in line because it's going to be tough enough without taxes going up. I think most people have vouched for the character of Roberta, and I just have a few comments. I'm used to speaking in front of the planning board where I get 2 minutes, so it's short because that's what I expected to have today. I wrote down some of the behaviors and qualities that I've seen in Roberta. We work on a Bergen Volunteer Center together. We're both on the board of that. I've never worked with her in a business capacity, but just at the Volunteer Center. And if these qualities are important to you, then you've picked the right person. Roberta admits when she messes up. She does what she'll say she'll do. She tells the truth. She speaks up when she sees something wrong. She gives constructive feedback. She accepts feedback gracefully. She's respectful. She says yes only when she means yes. And while Roberta might not have some of the management experience from a municipality, I want to applaud the town council because I think it's a courageous move on your part to take someone without that experience but who has the values and the qualities that are important to us and put them into this position. So I applaud you guys for that decision. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Good evening.
Good evening. Gary Cirillo, 260 South Pleasant Avenue. Just a few quick points. I too welcome the new village manager, if she shall be. If she's half as good as they say, I think we're in good shape. I hope she knows how to say no as much as she knows how to say yes in this town. I'm here 20 plus years. Parking and taxes were an issue 20 plus years ago. Parking and taxes will be an issue 20 years from now. It's just the way it is. Wasn't going to mention this, but it's, when you talk about our taxes and everything that we have in this town, the fact that seniors stay here is amazing. And I think that whatever we can do to help the seniors out, we need to do. Everything we do is structured towards kids and families. And if we can put some money into helping the seniors out, every senior who stays here is one less kid in the school system, one less tax, just a lot less burden on the tax system. We need to keep as many seniors here as we can, and I think getting a better downstairs for them is not that much to ask. So I'd like to see that definitely taken care of. Someday, I hope to be one of those seniors. And then, totally different directions. We had a lot of snow this year. It was great to see everybody out sleigh riding. I brought this up several times in the past. I don't understand why we leave that little section of rocks on the hill coming down the slope. It looks like it's dangerous. I've asked before why we don't remove it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, talk to any of the families and they'll tell you when you slide right down the hill, there's a series of rock wall in the middle for no reason. It's very dangerous, and I don't know why. If that's the only place we have to sleigh ride, why we don't make it safer for the kids. And then I'm going to go into what I do. I'm the president of Project Pride here in Ridgewood, and we are a volunteer organization that provides all the flowers to downtown. We plant the flowers, we clean out all the cigarette butts, we do the kissing balls, and we do all the beautification for downtown. It is becoming very difficult to continue doing this. We have a gift ordinance, which has never, to the best of my knowledge, been thoroughly nailed down. No one is allowed to say to me, I'd like to donate $100 to you, because if they do so, they can't go for any permits or anything like that. Now, if this has changed and we have a threshold, is that the case? Have we ever established a threshold where if they donate below that X amount of dollars, it doesn't count? Has that ever been done? Does anybody know?
Sure. Matt, do you want to clarify that, please?
Well, the gift ordinance, we've been through this a few times, Gary. The gift ordinance was changed back in 2010, and was changed to direct or allow or give the authority to the village manager to set up the parameters for accepting gifts, and that if there was a need be or the village manager thought it was necessary, to take it to the council for approval. I don't think, I'd have to think back to what the earlier ordinance was, but I don't think a $100 gift ever created a problem. But that's my recollection.
Yeah, because we had somebody wanting to give $100, and when I spoke to the previous manager, we had talked about 500, we had talked about 5,000, but we'd never had a concrete number in, where I can say to somebody, listen, if you give less than X, we don't have to go before the council or anything. It's documented, everything's documented. And,
that's why we left it to the village manager to make the decision and set up the parameters for it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's why
I'll say it again, that's why we left it to the village manager to set up the parameters for the acceptance of the gift.
And was it ever finalized?
I'm not sure that it was finalized, but I think it's...
Let me make a suggestion, because this keeps coming up and it's an important issue. Why don't we put this on the March 26th agenda?
Okay. Sure.
And make sure they're finalized where we need to be finalized, and clarify any,
All right. And then just in closing, Project Pride, we are all volunteers. We do everything downtown. Last year our budget was cut by almost 50%, half. We got half our operating budget without really any prior knowledge. What we do is extremely important. And when you come into downtown and everyone says, oh, it's so beautiful downtown, that's what we do. We don't take health insurance. We don't take a pension. We don't take anything. We're all volunteer. So all we're asking for is to please restore us back to as much as you possibly can, to let us do what we do and keep downtown beautiful, because it's a tremendous asset to the town. I thank you for your time, and good luck to the new manager.
Great. Thanks so much, Gary. Thanks for your service in Project Pride. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Hallaby, 374 Evergreen Place, and listening to Gary, I felt I had to stand up and speak also. I'm Vice President of the Conservancy for Ridgewood Public Lands, and we are trying to maintain the parks. We're active on North Broad Street, working along with Gary. We're very grateful for his help. I'm also a member of the Women Gardeners, and we maintain the gardens at Van Nest. So I just felt I should speak up and say that we are a great team, and we're really trying to improve the downtown area, and we're looking forward to working with Barbara. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Cynthia. Thank you for what you do, too. Appreciate it. Good evening, sir.
Hello. My name is Michael Volikio, 250 Hope Street. I also own Mediterranean Restaurant, one of Roberta's favorite restaurants. I would like to apologize to her for all the evenings that I ruined by commenting and whining. And during these evenings, I witnessed her genuinely and calmly and very honestly listen to me, whining and complaining and coming up with weird solutions. Whoever knows me knows that that's a mental task, listening to me. In my humble opinion, I honestly believe that if she survived me, she'll be a wonderful village official. I'm grateful and I'm very happy, and I wish her all the best. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. All right. See no more. Oh, please, Mr. Eisen. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Leonard Eisen, 76 Upper Boulevard. I want to, because most of the people here have spoken on behalf of the new village manager, which I think is a wonderful idea. But I want to draw your attention to an experience I had. I about a week ago, I attended for the first time a lunch that was sponsored by Councilman Howe. And I want to say it was outstanding. First time I've been here. I've lived in Ridgewood for over 40 years. This is the first time I've been to this event. And first of all, she had a marvelous photographer showing outstanding color slide, nature color slide, which unless you saw it, you don't believe it. Each one was a winner. I mean, this went on for about a half an hour. And then they were serving Irish luncheon, corned beef, outstanding quality, cabbage, soda bread, cookies, drinks, it works. And I was very impressed, and I want to thank her for such a marvelous event. That's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That was Doug Goodell. I think everybody's seen Doug Goodell's slides and books. And thank you, Leonard.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on now to manager's report. Heather?
Yes. I want to note that Ridgewood was recognized yesterday by the Joint Insurance Fund with the Safety Incentive Program Excellence Award for safety practices and training in 2013. The award includes a grant of $1,000. I just want to remind everyone to sign up on our website, which is www.ridgewoodnj.net, to receive Ridgewood information. Ridgewood Service Request System, RSR, sign up to report locations of potholes. It's on the right-hand side. There's a picture of a pothole. You can upload pictures. In the future, this will also be expanded to include other service requests. The e-notice is used by the village to provide information electronically to residents regarding Ridgewood emergency alerts, anticipated and current severe weather conditions, sanitation, and other service changes. If you're not signed up yet, I encourage all residents to take a few minutes to sign up. You can either sign up on the website directly, or there are postcards available at Village Hall where you can sign up. Since this will be my last public meeting as acting village manager, I have some people to thank. First and foremost, I want to thank the Village Council for their faith in me and for giving me this amazing opportunity to serve as acting village manager of Ridgewood, a village that is very close to my heart. I want to thank the department directors, the supervisors, and all of the village employees who work so hard every day for the village residents. Your efforts are appreciated. I also want to point out that in this unusual year, with leaves that came down all at once, near record snowfalls, record-breaking low temperatures, I want to thank the village residents who were willing to be flexible in bringing their garbage out to the ends of their driveways in order to keep our employees safe. And finally, for each one of you who have encouraged me and been available to me for guidance and input, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I wish Berta the best as she begins her position, and I look forward to working with her in the years to come.
Well, Heather, let me just say, we didn't know till this evening that this was your last meeting because Heather won't be here on March 26th. So none of us had a chance to really prepare any thoughts. But I think it goes without saying thank you. I mean, thank you for stepping in and you know, these are challenging times. And, you know, budgetary, we always talk about, but it's a challenging position. You wore two hats. You were village manager and village clerk. You were great, and thank you. Maybe we could just stand up and give her a quick.
Thank you so much.
I just have to comment that I've seen in Roberta the most patient, and in Heather the most patient, and I've heard so much about Roberta. But I've seen in Heather the most patient and at the same time efficient person. What you don't see is the number of emails that we council members receive from people in the village saying, you know, there's a snowbank on this corner and there's a pile of leaves on that corner. And what do? We ask Heather to please deal with it. And she does it in such grace and at the same time efficiency. I've never seen her once even come close to, you know, saying, please, enough. So she has an unlimited capacity to work and to do so with an extraordinarily amount of just kindness and good grace, and that really comes through in everything she does. So thank you, Heather, for that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Heather is our rock. She takes care of everything that we need. She responds to us instantly and is often a referee for us as well. So I thank you for everything that you do, Heather.
Yes, I didn't know it was your last night, so I'll prepare something. You'll have to listen to a speech the next time. You and I go back further than anybody sitting here. I mean, it's been a lot of years, and it sounds like you're retiring.
I know, not yet.
But you're not.
Long time.
One of the things that's so wonderful about what you do day in and day out is that you have this great capacity to listen and will disagree at times and have your own opinion, which is wonderful. But because you've been here for such a long time, you know what is doable, you know where you can push the buttons and where you can't, and in the instances where you can't push the buttons, you know how to get around pushing the buttons. And that's what makes it so wonderful. And you're always accessible, and it's just, you've done such a wonderful job, and this has been a heavy burden, not only on you, but, you know, what people don't recognize is this takes a tremendous burden on the family, too. You know, this is not an 8-hour-a-day job. So you get to get back some semblance of life again, and thank you for everything that you always do.
Thank you. Gwen?
Yeah, I guess also just my experience working with Heather is that there are emails coming in around the clock, 7 days a week. So we get emails on Sunday morning, Sunday night. If she sends us an email and we receive it, we say thanks, and then she says, you're welcome. I mean, we send emails back and forth with such courteousness, and yet you know that she does rule with an iron fist in a kind way. There never, ever, nothing unpleasant. But you don't take shortcuts with Heather because you know she wouldn't take a shortcut. She led by example as an acting village manager, and she will continue to lead by example as our clerk. That's right. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I agree, and I do want to thank my family, too, for their patience and their kindness in the many hours that I've put in. So.
Great. Thank you.
Great.
All right, so we've moved things around a little bit. Generally what we do is we do the resolutions at the end of the meeting, but we've moved one resolution up, and that's the resolution to appoint a new village manager.
Do you want to do council reports?
Oh, council reports, I'm sorry. We can do council reports? Sure.
Sure, I'll start. Today I traveled down to Trenton with the Bergen League group. It's always a fun trip. We get in a little bus, and 12 of us go down there and talk about politics all day, so it's enjoyable. Listened to several different panels talking about go-forward plans for New Jersey. COA seemed to be a topic, didn't seem to be a topic that they wanted to talk about, but seemed to be a concern of most of the municipalities there. They talked about shared services, which we already are involved in, so for us it was really a no-brainer, that conversation. But for some municipalities that don't do shared services, they're concerned that they're going to be penalized for that, so it was a topic of conversation. I also found out from the village manager, REAC had submitted for a Sustainable New Jersey grant. We actually submitted for 2 grants, and we did receive today from Sustainable New Jersey one of the capacity building grants. So I'm very proud of my REAC team that's been working very hard. When we filled the grant out, we were in the throes of developing the Shade Tree Commission. So the hope is that that money is going to the Shade Tree Commission to help them start up their projects. They're already at work, had their first meeting last week, and they're already at work on that. So very proud of my team.
Great. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. I'd like to do my reports by commenting first on having raised 4 children in this community. I think, as the rest of you, it's a wonderful place to raise children. But we also heard some testimony tonight about what a wonderful place this community can be for senior citizens, and I think it's more so now perhaps than ever, and Jim Griffin did a great job. We also heard the first speaker, Martin Walker. He just left, and I wish he had stayed. Martin Walker challenged us to create a vision for Ridgewood, and this is something I said in my campaign, and I wish we'd been able to follow through more than we have, but we still have time left. Create a vision that accommodates Ridgewood, that makes Ridgewood an accommodating place for senior citizens. I'm in that phase where I'd love to stay in this town and like to think that it's as good a place for seniors as it is for the parents of people who are raising children. So we've had a glimpse of how great it can be for those seniors who are capable of staying here. And I just hope our vision from the Planning Board, the Council, and the Historic Preservation Commission and throughout makes a place for alternative housing for seniors. That doesn't have to be 6-story, 40 units per acre, but surely we have to find a way so that senior citizens don't have to move to an adjacent town where the taxes are lower, or to North Carolina or someplace. So anyway, I just thank all of you for that very interesting and challenging discussion. Very briefly, concerning the Ridgewood Arts Council, I mentioned last week that its mission is expanding, and it will include, among other things, the provision of art and music in the very rooms that Jim Griffin was describing downstairs. They were to have been present this evening, but because of the busy agenda, we put them off to the March 26th meeting. They have some really good ideas, and we're going to hear more from them on March 26th. But the Ridgewood Arts Council will become, I think, a really positive force in this community.
Great. Thanks, Alan.
Yes, although it's March, the 4th of July Committee is busy at work planning, as they do every year, for the 4th of July celebration. They continue to look for new volunteers. They continue to look for donations. It is a volunteer group funded day. It costs a lot of money to put the 4th of July on activities, Independence Day activities. A lot of folks think that the village pays for it, but there is no contribution by the village, a very minor one. So they're looking for help, they're looking for volunteers, and hard at work getting ready for the celebration on July 4th.
Great, thanks. Gwen?
I just wanted to mention that the library luncheon was, by the Friends of the Library, was today at the Seasons in Washington Township, and they had 375 guests, and Meg Wolitzer was the author. Her book, The Interestings, and she was phenomenal. It was an hour-long talk, and it was incredibly interesting. Interesting is a funny play on words, and thought-provoking, intellectual speaker, and it was really a wonderful gift for all of us that attended. And I want to just thank the library for providing that educational and social afternoon. That's it.
Great, thank you. Two things I have. One is Planning Board met this week to talk about Valley Hospital. Nothing really new there. That moves forward. Planning Board's meeting next week to talk about Valley Hospital. Also the redevelopment zone that we kicked over to them for consideration. And the only other thing I wanted to point out was I went down to the League of Municipalities meeting also today, and it was the first time I had the opportunity to see the Lieutenant Governor in action. And I was really impressed. Not just in the way she presented, but what she was talking about. She was talking about the importance of working with our local business community, doing everything we can, working with the chambers, working with individual business owners. It was really inspiring, and the crowd really liked it. So I was very impressed. Really appreciated it. So with that, as I was starting to say before, we sort of switched the order of tonight's agenda a little bit. Again, we always deal with the resolutions after we deal with the ordinances, but we moved one up to deal with the village, to appoint the new village manager. We did that as a courtesy because we knew that many of you were going to be here tonight, and we appreciate that. But we did it also because this is a really big decision. And arguably, this is the most important decision this council or any council will make. It's appointing the village manager. And it's because that position, that person, serves as the chief executive officer of Ridgewood, in charge of the day-to-day operations. We're like a board of directors, as Albert and others alluded to. We send emails off to the village manager, expect the village manager to take care of it. That was true with Heather. That's going to be true with you. But it really is an important position. And because it's so important, we took a great deal of time. And I know some people have said we took a little too long. It was a little over 6 months, this process. It was a little longer than the last time we appointed village manager. But to us, it was much more important to get it right than to get it fast. And we wanted to take time. And one of the challenges we have, frankly, is balancing our schedules, making sure the 5 of us can get together on any given day, and as well as the candidates. We tried to keep it as an inclusive process, making sure that all 5 of us were there. We tried to, make it inclusive in the sense that, as we went through, we had 3 different rounds of interviews. At the first round and the second round, if any council member wanted any candidate to be there, we said okay. We didn't want to shut anybody out. We wanted to be as inclusive, again, at the risk of taking a little longer. And even, when we got to at the end, we were negotiating the details of the contract or the agreement. It was, Councilwoman Walsh and myself and Heather sitting down with Roberta. So we put a lot of time, a lot of effort into this, and again, we needed to get it right rather than get it fast, and I really firmly believe that we did get it right. I've come to know Roberta Sonnenfeld over the last several years. I met her, I don't know, it was 5 years ago when you were working with Bergen Leads, and you interviewed myself, you interviewed the former village manager about shared services and these types of issues, and I've had an opportunity to work with her on the Super Bowl committee. I've had an opportunity to work with her in the context of the Education Foundation, and just in so many different ways, in the budget, the Tiger team, and I definitely believe we got it right. And she brings to this job an extraordinary amount of management experience. She has demonstrated a profound commitment to this community through the different activities she's been involved in. And the truth is, one of the things I really enjoy about this and really appreciate is she's one of us. She pays our taxes. She lives in our neighborhoods. She raised her family here. Her and Bob raised their family here. And, in fact, up until last week, if I remember correctly, you still had a tree lying on the curb in front of your house. So you get it. You get it when it comes to Ridgewood. You understand it, and I know you're going to bring that passion and that commitment, that understanding to the job, and I'm just really excited about this. I don't know in terms of process where we want to just move it, and I know everybody else has comments to make, or if you guys want to make those comments now, we can start. Councilwoman Walsh, you want to move it and second it first?
Well,
Sure.
let me read it, Paul.
Sure.
Be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that Roberta Sonnenfeld be and she is hereby appointed Village Manager of the Village of Ridgewood effective March 31st, 2014, and be it further resolved that the Mayor and Village Clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign a memorandum of agreement enumerating the terms and conditions of Ms. Sonnenfeld's employment with the village.
So
May I have a
moved.
motion? Okay.
Second.
And before we do the vote, did you want to speak? You want to start?
Sure, I'll speak first, sure. As many of you know, as the mayor just said, this was an arduous task for us. We had over 50 applications of very highly qualified individuals. If they were chosen by the village council, I'm sure they would have had equal amounts of supporters here for them because they were really quality candidates. And quite frankly, to know that Bergen County and the state of New Jersey has so many people looking for jobs right now, I took pause with that because, we really need to get them jobs, find them jobs somewhere. I don't know where else we can find them jobs, but it was an interesting process going through that. I treated this as an HR function. I truly treated it as a human resource function. I have not worked with Roberta. I did not have the opportunity to work with her and didn't know any of the other candidates, quite frankly. Maybe met them once or twice at a function over the years, but really had no knowledge of their background or what they were involved with. So, going through the process, we went through 50 applications and each of us whittled it down. It's my opinion, and again, I believe strongly in the Faulkner Act and that we have 5 different council members up here. I felt there were several more qualified candidates than Roberta, and I expressed my concerns to her in our meetings more than once during the process, and I think she acknowledged that. She expressed to me that she is going to do the best job that she can possibly do for Ridgewood, and I wish her well.
Great, thank you.
Okay. I just want to say that I think the village manager should be the face of the village and set an example for everyone, both residents and employees, as I mentioned before. And what our town needs is someone that has the natural ability to lead us through the very choppy waters of people, politics, and finances. And Roberta is obviously eminently qualified for the job. I believe that we are extremely blessed to have found this person who lives in our town and wants to combine her passion for people and her passion for Ridgewood with the talents that she has developed over 30 years of managing large departments and large budgets. And I just don't think that comes along too often. And I'm going to take full advantage of that. She has so much experience in this town, working with so many committees and on so many volunteer positions. It just goes across the whole scope of this community. It encompasses education, the REF. It encompasses finances, the FAC. It encompasses volunteerism, Bergen County, Volunteer Center. Bergen Leads, which is a Bergen County Community Service and Leadership Program where she was recognized for her service. The Ridgewood Historical Society, which I think right now is a really important thing because it's something that concerns all of us, preserving and extolling our heritage. And all of her resumes pointed out how well she works, all of her references pointed out how well she works with others. Councilwoman Lynn Allgrant, whom she worked with at Bergen Leads, said that Roberta is a participatory leader who brings out the best in those around her and builds confidence and expertise in her team. And I think that that's really important for my employees. I mean, I've only been here for 2 years, but I feel like the employees that I've had the privilege to work with deserve kind leadership and a delicate hand to steer them ahead, because these are tough times, and I want them to feel that they're supported. And Pat Schuber testified to her ability to advocate, communicate, work hard, and work with others. She also received a letter of recommendation from a senior human resources advisor at the United Nations. Now, if the United Nations thinks that he can hold things together, I think she'd be good for Ridgewood. So I wholeheartedly endorse her as our candidate for village manager for Ridgewood.
Great, thanks. Tom? Sure. The Village of Ridgewood is a $50 million plus a year business. This is a business that we run here, and with almost 300 employees. We service almost 25,000 residents, as well as many visitors who come to the downtown for dining and shopping, and also many people who come here for sporting events with our kids. The services which we deliver require resources, competent staff, leadership, and significant resident support through property taxes, and we all know about property taxes. The Council has the responsibility of creating policy as well as funding mechanisms to ensure that all services are delivered in an effective and financially sound manner. That's our job. The village government is totally in the hands of the CEO or the village manager on a daily basis. The council, by law, is actually prohibited from directing any employee. The oversight falls solely on the CEO of this $50 million a year business. The process of selecting a new village manager should always recognize the importance of that job description. It is critical for the CEO to have extensive experience in state civil service regulations and procedures, union negotiations, and we have 7 unions in Ridgewood, bargaining skills, and acumen to navigate the day-to-day morass of state regulations and requirements. During the interview process, as Bernadette had said, we had many qualified candidates with a breadth of municipal experience, and they came forward and applied for the position. Their knowledge of civil service and state regulations was extensive in many cases. Their experience with union contract negotiations was commendable. Many of the candidates also had a thorough knowledge of the intricacies of running a utility such as our Ridgewood Water Department, which is a key component of our government here. The pool of candidates was best of what municipal government veterans could offer. This appointment, in my view, is just much too important for the residents and the taxpayers of Ridgewood to have an on-the-job training program. I wish Roberta all the best, but for that reason I can't support this appointment. Thanks, Tom. Albert?
I had the pleasure of working with Roberta Sonnenfeld on the Tiger team, and then most recently, including about an hour and a half ago, on the Financial Advisory Committee. She attends every meeting of the Financial Advisory Committee, and she contributes so much to that body's work. The conclusion to me that is inescapable is that she is fiercely bright. She is a very quick study. I don't think she will learn on the job. I think she's already learned, and she is well equipped for the position that I hope she will be undertaking after this vote. I have seen Roberta be a very critical thinker. She is certainly not a yes person. She's the one who has stopped me in my tracks and said, not so fast on that village garage until we look at the alternatives. She has persuaded the Financial Advisory Committee that they really need to look at outsourcing, whether or not we should be leasing vehicles, whether or not we should be turning vehicles over more quickly than we do, instead of building a beautiful facility to maintain sanitation vehicles that are 9-10 years old. So she's taken a very critical approach to that, and she's not afraid to speak her mind. I think we really do need to find new ways to approach government. We have seen where the old ways will take us. If you look at the Tiger Team report and look at the budget growth over the last 10 years, always in the same direction, upward, and always for the same reasons, without services improving, but with services gradually eroding. Surely, in my view, it is inescapable that we have to find a new way to look at things, find a new way to approach these problems. And I am convinced that Roberta Sonnenfeld, among all the candidates that we interviewed, and she certainly met some fierce competition for this position, I am convinced she's the best person to accept the challenge of finding new and fresh approaches to this process of village government. So.
Thanks, Albert.
Right.
Do the vote?
Yes. Elk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
No.
Walsh?
No.
And Aronson.
Absolutely.
Move on to ordinances.
Congratulations, I think.
Does she want to speak?
Do you want to say something?
Go up to the microphone, please, so we can get you on the record.
Yeah, I
Thank
can say your
you.
name and address still.
Three minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank each one of you. I've listened. Thank you to everybody that spoke today. I really do appreciate it. I just want to say that this is my dream job. Having spent 30 years in pretty senior roles that I was lucky to have, and then spending some years with the municipality as well as at the county level, I think the combination of those two things brought me to this place. I am passionate about this town. I love this town. I'm passionate about the fact that we have to institute some financial sustainability here. But I also want to say, and I think I said this when I did an FAC report not too long ago, that when you measure the success of Ridgewood, it's not just in financials. I mean, I think you have to look at our success in at least 4 different ways. One of them certainly is financial, but one of them is our customers. And our customers are you, the residents. All right, so customer satisfaction is really, really key to this as well. So that's very important. Employees are key critical to our success. It's kind of trite to say, but it's really true. Happy employees make happy clients. Okay, so I'm really, really interested in staff development. I would point out that it does kind of surprise me that we don't have a human resources professional in the village. We have 300 people. What? It was a nice lunch today. And so I think we have to spend time on the staff. And I think the fourth area is really looking at the way we do things and looking at the quality of our processes. And here I think that we can, in fact, leapfrog ahead, use some quality methodology, take a look at what others are doing, find opportunities across the county, with the county, and really try to change the paradigm on how we do business. So I'm really excited. I thank you, and I look forward to hitting the ground running. Thank you.
So now the meeting gets a little boring, but we're going to move right along. We're going to move forward with our ordinances. I move the first reading of ordinance 3409.
Hauk?
Second.
Yes. Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3409 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145-6 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood entitled Enumeration of Fees Relating to Code Chapters.
I move ordinance 3409 be adopted on first reading and that April 9, 2014 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Hauk? Yes. Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes, I move the first reading of ordinance 3410.
Second?
Hauk? Yes. Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3410 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145-6 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood entitled Fees.
I move that ordinance 3410 be adopted on first reading and that April 9, 2014 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second the motion?
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes, now move on to some public hearings. I move the clerk read ordinance 3405 by title on second reading and the public hearing thereon be opened.
I second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3405?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood Fees at Section 145-6, enumeration of fees relating to code chapters.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3405 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3406 by title on second reading and the public hearing thereon be opened.
I second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. Will the clerk please read title of ordinance 3406?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145, fees of the village code for day camp fees.
Public hearing is now open. I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3406 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second?
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yep.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3407 by title on second reading and that the public hearing thereon be opened.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yep.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3407?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 249 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Streets and Sidewalks at Section 249-42, permit required, and Section 249-48, conditions for permit.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yep.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3407 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes.
The following resolutions, numbers 14-61 through 14-75, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the village council. They will be read by title only. Endorsed submission of recycling tonnage grant. Approved budget reserve transfers. Approved 2014 emergency temporary budget appropriations. Award extraordinary and specifiable service contract, repair of water meter reading system, Ridgewood Water. Title 59 approval, sodium hypochlorite solution, Ridgewood Water. Award contract, sodium hypochlorite solution, Ridgewood Water. Title 59 approval, train station coffee bar. Award contract, train station coffee bar. Award contract under county contract, vehicle repair services. Approved shared services agreement, bulk water sale with the Borough of Hawthorne. Authorize execution of administrative consent order and payment of fine for Braden Pool. 14-72 was removed from the agenda. Authorize execution of application for New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection permit applications, renovations to Leicester Stable. Approve installation of wayfinding sign in the Central Business District, and appoint Parks, Recreation, and Conservation Board member to the Open Space Committee.
Move the consent.
Second?
Hauk?
Yes.
Pucciarelli?
Yes.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Aronson?
Yes.
And actually, the next one is 14-76, and that's actually being removed from the agenda this evening.
Great. Thank you, Heather. All right, we'll go back to comments from the public. Any questions, comments, anything at all? Please, anyone, step up to the podium. Good evening.
Good evening, Ann Loving, 342 South Irving Street. We now know from reading in the newspaper that Councilman Ritchie and Councilwoman Walsh will not be seeking re-election, and I know you still have several months of hard work ahead of you, but I wanted to thank you for all the work that you have done. And I see that 2 of the 3 candidates are here. I think Mike Seaton and Susan Nixon. I'm not sure if the other candidate is here, but really appreciate them for stepping up to run, and I would like to thank them for that. I'm hesitant to say this, but I feel like I really want to say that I wish all the best to Roberta. I do have concerns. I don't know her at all, so I can't stand up here and say what a wonderful person she is. I've never worked with her. I've certainly been very impressed with the reports that she has given from the Financial Advisory Committee, but I was very shocked to read that you had hired somebody that did not have experience, or that you were planning to hire somebody that did not have experience running a village. Again, I wish her nothing but the best. I mean, we all have the best interests of Ridgewood in mind. I was a clinical microbiologist before I retired. In order to get a job in my field, you had to have specific education in my field. In order to get a cherry job in my field, and I consider working as the manager of the Village of Ridgewood in the New York metropolitan area to be a cherry job, you would have to have had significant experience. So I trust that your decision is the right one, and I just really was shocked that you couldn't find somebody with all of her qualities plus experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Questions? Mr. Eisen?
Leonard Eisen, 762 Upper Boulevard. I congratulate Roberta on being elected to the village manager. I also note, as everybody else in the audience knows, that the vote was not unanimous, but I do hope that over time Roberta will prove herself, and that eventually everybody on the village council will say yes, yes, yes. That's my comment. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Eisen. Any other questions, comments? All right. Resolution to go into closed session, please.
Be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on March 12, 2014 at 8:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter on the agenda can be reached. And the said closed session be held in the caucus room on the 4th floor of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. And be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to personnel matters to include the Finance and Health Departments. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 sec. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public when such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody, and good night.